These testimonials are representative of my or our experiences, but the exact results and experience will be unique and individual to each person. The information provided herein is not medical advice and is not intended to substitute for the advice of your personal physician or other healthcare providers. Well, happy Wednesday or whatever day it is that you are listening to this week's episode of the Beautiful Bag Podcast. I am your host, LeeAnne Hayden, coming to you from the loft as usual. I got to start traveling again, guys. I'm telling you, because every time I do this recording, I'm still here. So I need to get my butt out and start getting back on the road and get back into New York City and start traveling again and do some of these episodes from somewhere more interesting. Anyways, I'm coming to you this week with still in the topic. We're in March, and March was all about wellness. It was all about nutrition and wellness. And that's what we've been talking about through some of the stories that you've heard over this month. And now we're ending the month. And ladies and gentlemen, spring is around the corner. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I love spring. There's something about spring. It just makes you feel better. It's kind of like that when you were a kid and it was that first day of school and you had your new school books and you're opening your school books, right? Spring is just that smell that's in the air. You know, things are warming up, especially if you're here in the US and the top part of the hemisphere. If you're in Australia, guys, sorry, you're going into your winter. It's your winter time. So I hope you guys are all having an amazing day. What we're going to talk about today is wellness tips and hydration. We're still in that wellness. We're still in the wellness month. And I know a couple of episodes ago, I talked about dietary tips and nourishing your body. This episode, we're going to talk more about hydration and wellness tips. And again, like I say all the time, I say in the previews, always go to your healthcare provider first. If you have any questions or you're wondering and you're curious, go to your healthcare provider. The things that I talk about, the things we talk about here on the show, they're our tips, our tips, our tricks, some things that work for us specifically that may or may not work for you, but it's at least keeping you in the awareness of it. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about essentials first. We're going to start talking about proper hydration, especially with an ileostomy. Now, I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. We talked about how the body works in the ileostomy. And if you have an ileostomy, you know you need some help being hydrated way more than someone who has a colostomy, because again, the body's part of the job. With a colostomy, and when you get into your large intestine, the large intestine's job is to take out the water and supply your body with it. If you no longer have a large intestine and you're just using your small intestine, it takes a while. But again, according to Dr. Ivaturi and what he had mentioned before, your small intestine will start to adapt and start to do that hydration. Now, what we talked about proper hydration, especially in an ileostomy, we have to make sure I have a water bottle with me all the time or an herbal tea with me. I make sure I use my electrolytes like I talked about. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see I'm holding the canister. It's called Ultima. This is my favorite electrolyte. This one's the lemon one. Tastes so good. Tastes so good. Love it. I don't sell it. I don't promote it, anything like that. You can get it at Whole Foods. You can get it at other grocery stores. You can even get it off Amazon and have them ship it to your house. Okay. So, but make sure that you're getting your electrolytes in because your body needs some assistance and some help to get itself hydrated. And electrolytes are key. Having water with you, having herbal teas, carrying your water bottle. I go through a gallon of water a day. I know it's a lot of water. And I have a colostomy and I have the majority of my large intestine. However, I have a tendency to get constipated. Just in general, it's just how my body works. And so I need to make sure I'm getting enough water inside my body to be able to be absorbed. Some people may have to go, like I mentioned before, people might have to go and get IV drips. Like you might have to go somewhere and get solution, like get IVs, get hydrated through an IV. Some people can just drink the water and be fine. When you're in an ileostomy, the tips that I have been told is to drink your water a couple of hours or an hour before, an hour after, mostly an hour after, an hour before, an hour after you eat your meal. Don't drink your water with your meal because that way you can kind of thicken up your output. But you do need to get hydrated, especially with an ileostomy. Your body will adapt, but again, you're going to need a little extra assistance most times. So monitoring it, right? How much do you take? I fill up, literally have a glass gallon water jug. You should see this thing, glass gallon water jug. And what I do with this water jug is I fill it up with filtered water from my sink and leave it out on my kitchen counter and go by, and I'm like, I'll make my herbal tea with it. I'll put it into a smaller water bottle if I'm going out to the gym, make sure my electrolytes are in the smaller water bottle. But I make sure before I go to bed, that gallon jug is emptied. Like I drank that whole thing. That's how much my body needs. Everybody's body's needs are different. And so the recommendation, whether you're in an ostomy or not, the recommendation is at least a minimum of half your body weight in ounces is what you should be drinking in fluids. We know things that are going to dehydrate us, like coffee. Coffee can hydrate and dehydrate at the same time, right? So coffee is a dehydrant. If you drink alcohol, you're going to get dehydrated. So caffeine drinks, you're going to get dehydrated with it. So make sure you're drinking your herbal teas, your water, your electrolytes. If you need more, your body needs more, you feel it. Sometimes if you feel signs of dehydration is cramping, lethargic, like you can almost taste in your mouth that you haven't had enough fluids. You're like, I'm a little dehydrated. We're coming up on spring and summer here in the US and here in the Northern Hemisphere. We're going to start to sweat more. If you work out, guys, you need more water. If you work out, if you sweat more, you need more water because your body is expelling all of that. So those are things that you want to make sure that you pay attention to. I know we go through our lives and we're so busy and we're doing so many different things that we don't slow down enough sometimes to say, I need to pay attention to the things that are important. And sometimes, like us, we've been through something that sometimes we do slow down. When you go through something in life that's dramatic and life-changing as the things that we have, sometimes we will slow down. But then there's moments where we're just going on our day. Make sure you're stopping and paying attention to your body. Your body will tell you what it needs. Again, you start to get cramping. You feel like that taste in your mouth, like I've got a little extra muck in my mouth. I need to drink a little bit more. Once you start to get that, you'll feel tired. You may have some brain fog, even your joints. Like your joints might start to ache too. And that's another sign of dehydration. So again, what do? You can drink more water with electrolytes. You can go get IVs, especially if you're in an ileostomy. You can just up your fluids. All right. So that's that. Now, I just spoke about exercise and exercising and sweating. Exercising and movement is so important for our bodies. It's so important for our wellness. It's so important for our state of mind. You guys know me. I personally work out 6 days a week in the gym, 5 to 6 days a week in the gym. And then I have an active recovery day, which is walking. My methods of working out and the only things that I used to do high intensity workouts, my Peloton hit spin classes, my poor Peloton bike sits in the bedroom. I haven't used it in a while. I used to do all that. I used to do all these like hits and kettlebells and throwing stuff around and sweating and knowing in my head, I'm like, if I do sprint drills, I'm going to burn more calories, all that stuff. And that may work for you. But for me, again, my age, I'm 53. I'm a female. I'm postmenopausal. I need to do things a little bit differently for my body now. So the only things that I personally do for myself, I do love yoga. So I will do yoga. I'll pretty much do that at home. But I walk every single day. And I started walking and then started to increase my steps. And I started this walking thing every single day, probably 3 years ago. And so it has picked up. Well, again, it's been more than that because I lived in Manhattan and I walked everywhere all the time for 3 years while we lived there. So it's probably been a good since I moved in. So about 6 years. Every single day walking. Now I count my steps because we live back in New Hampshire. We get in our car and we drive a lot. And that's really typical when you're not living in a city and you're living somewhere else. You're in your car a lot. So how can you get your steps in? So my big thing is walking every single day. It started off with, let me see if I can get myself to 10,000 steps a day. And I count my steps. I have this Aura ring. I leave it as a thumb ring. I love it. It's a great thing. You can go on aura.com. I can put the link in the show notes or wherever it is you're watching. I don't make money on it. I just use it and I love it. So it tracks my sleep, it tracks my steps, it tracks how much I'm burning in calories for the day. It doesn't track your hydration. Maybe someday it will. There'll be something in there, be like, hey, you need to drink your water. But it tracks a lot of stuff. And I've learned a lot about myself over the last 2.5 years that I've been using this ring, on how much I thought I would go to the gym and work out. And I thought I was I'm like, oh, I exercise, I'm great. Well, I would come home and sit on my butt and sit in my chair. And so now I'm like, I'm standing up more. I'm using my standing desk more. I'm getting more steps in. I'm making sure I move more. So this ring has truly helped me. Again, it's called the Aura ring. I definitely recommend it. If not, find something that you can track your steps and start to get your steps in, start to get that moving your body going. So I work out, I do a lot of walking, and I lift weights. Now, you have to be very careful when you lift weights, especially with a stoma. Some people are worried about, hernias, things like that. Be careful. Your body knows. Ask your doctor. I personally lift weights 5 to 6 days a week. And some of those times I'm lifting heavy. Heavier. I lift heavy. I always have. My body is used to it. I love it. You can start light and start small. There's so many ways you can do it. You can hire a personal trainer. There's personal trainers out there that do know people in ostomies. There's some people online. There's some personal trainers online that you can go and connect with online, that you can figure out. You can ask them questions, or they might even they have online programs too. And the first person I'm thinking about is Mr. Crohn's colitis. He does a lot of stuff. And then there is, oh, what's her name? She's from Australia. This is going to drive me crazy. Oh, I can see her. I can't think of her name, guys. So I'm going to have to come back to you on that one. But again, there are certain people who are in ostomies that are personal trainers. There's Flood God. He does a lot of working out, gives a lot of tips from that too. So there's a lot of people that can help you in those areas. I am not a personal trainer. I just work out, and it's something that I've always done. Like I said, like you guys know, I used to do fitness competitions. So lifting weights has always been in my life. That's what I do. But finding exercises that work for you is best. Walking, running, yoga, lifting weights, Pilates, strengthening core muscles, figuring out what works for you in the strengthening of your core muscles, starting slow, whatever it is. It could be a Zumba class. If you love to move your body, it could be a dance class, whatever it is. I absolutely encourage you to go find something to do from a health perspective and move your bodies every single day. It helps with it helps move your food through your body. It helps your mental health. It kicks in that dopamine that makes you feel better, makes you think better. And there's things too that you can do for your ostomy if you're worrying about hernias, and you can wear the stealth belt, right? I love my stealth belt. You can wear a stealth belt. You can wear your Lululemons. You can wear your tighter leggings, ladies, and wear that. And that will sometimes that holds it together for me. That holds it enough for me to be able to do some of the things that I do. If I know I'm going to have a harder day, then I wear a belt. And there's ostomy support belts that you can wear as well. So I encourage you to get out there and start walking. And if you do start walking, it's something that I love. Make sure that you take a little mini video, put it in your stories, and tag me in it. And I would love to follow along on your journey of you working out, whether you're walking or you're lifting in the gym. Put it in your stories, tag me in it, and let me know, because again, I love to see people moving and moving your bodies. It does so much for us. And you can find things to do. You can just park a little further. Just do a little more. Just get a few more extra steps and you're going to feel amazing. Promise you. And it really does help with stress management, and it helps with your mental well-being as well, because we all have had to deal with something different, right? We all have had to deal with something, and you might still have your chronic illness. Some people have had cancer, gone through it, and that leaves trauma. Some people have, you've had colitis and Crohn's. Like some of you might still have your chronic illness, and it's just because you have a stoma doesn't mean your illness is gone. So we really, truly need to take care of ourselves, and especially our mental well-being. So there's a few things you can do for stress reduction. And some of the things is you could journal. I tell you that a lot. Writing things and getting them out on paper and putting them in a journal does so much for you, because we all have that voice in our heads. And if you're sitting there thinking, what voice in my head? That's the voice I'm talking about. So some of us, we have the voices in our head that tells us that we're not good enough, that we can't do something, all that stuff. Or we'll play scenarios over and over and over again in our minds. That's what we do. So when you get a journal and you just get a notebook, you can be any notebook, doesn't have to be pretty, just anything. Just sit down and just start to write things out, like how you're feeling every day, what you're grateful for in the morning when you wake up, what happened with your ostomy that day, and you're so upset by it. Like maybe you had an explosion or a leak or something, and you're just like, I don't know how to handle this. Just write it out, get it all out on paper, because there's something to say when you have pen to paper. You write it out and it gets it out of your mind and onto the paper, and it's almost like it goes away. It's almost like it gets taken away from your mind. It's not that you're not going to think about it as much, but it will get it out of your body. Okay. Get out of your body. And that will actually help you reduce your stress. You could do things like take a bath. Yes, yes, yes. We can take baths in our ostomies. Now, you can take a bath with no bag on. You might end up, pooping in the water. Who wants that? So I recommend you have your bags. You can take a bath with your bag. Take a nice Epsom salt relaxation bath. It's turn on the candles, light those candles, put on some great music, grab a book that you love, listen to music, whatever it is, go sit in the tub, take that bath and relax. Get massages. If you can afford it, go get massages. I was worried when I first started. I get massages a lot. I'm all about self-care. So, and self-care is just, it's more than just massages and baths. But I remember the first time I went and got a massage and I let them know I was in an ostomy and they said, okay. Now I got a massage one time and I didn't let the person know, and nobody ever touches your stomach. Nobody ever touches your stomach or your hips most times. I rolled over and for some reason, this girl wanted to straighten out my hips. So she moved her hand across the lower part of my abdomen and came across and I went, oh, my ostomy. And she stopped because she kind of was like, oh, all right. So make sure you tell them. There was another time when I was in Italy and I got a massage, and again, countries do things differently. So I got a massage, and this massage therapist put oil in people's belly buttons, like whatever the oil was she was using, she put in your belly button. Sometimes they say like, castor oil in your belly button helps with moving your bowels. I don't know, that's just some things. There's some oils, or helps relax you before you go to bed and go to sleep, or helps remove toxins, things like that. I don't know. I never did it, but it's out there. It's out there on TikTok world. Anyways, so I was getting this massage and I rolled over and she was massaging my shoulders and all that stuff. And then she moved the towels and she went to my stomach. And I was laying there. Now, mind you, you're getting massaged, you don't have anything on. But she had the towels covering the appropriate places. And I was shocked because I'm like, nobody's ever seen my stomach. And I wasn't ready for this. And I was like, and she spoke Italian. And she just put her hand on my shoulder as if to calm me, that it was okay. That's kind of how I was like, okay. So she's like, she just touched my shoulder a little bit, just like, it's okay. And then she started just rubbing my stomach. It was the best thing in the world. So she was rubbing my stomach, around my stomach. She put a little oil in my belly button, rubbed around my intestine. Cause again, she was massaging my colon. That was part of the massage that they did there. And this was at a wellness retreat. This was at a yoga retreat that I did. And so it wasn't like a backroom massage place. This was a yoga retreat, high end, all about the toxins and the natural foods and the yoga and all that stuff. Anyways, I came out of that massage and I was talking to some of the girls that I was on the trip with. And I had said, I kind of started to cry. And they were like, why are you crying? I said, well, I'm in an ostomy. And she massaged my stomach, and I haven't had someone touch my stomach in a long time. Now, mind you, I'm married to a man for the last 30 years, 23 years. I've been with my husband for 23 years. We've been together through this whole entire situation. And so this was a few years ago. And I go, I can't remember the last time someone touched my stomach other than myself. And that just, again, came home, had a conversation. We're going to talk about relationships. We talk about relationships. We'll talk about relationships in another time, but my husband is great. John's great. But I guess I never realized that he had stopped touching my stomach, and he had never realized he stopped touching my stomach. So it was a conversation that we had. And it was absolutely fantastic, by the way. Anyway, self-care. Self-care, taking care of yourselves, meditation, keeping that stress reduced, going on those walks, listening to fun music that you love to listen to. The calming music or the fun music that you want to dance to, like taking your steps, going for walks, doing the things that take care of you and take care of your body. Guys, another thing in self-care is getting things done. We wake up and we have a to-do list, and sometimes self-care is just saying, you know what, I need to take 20 minutes, shut everything off and get these 3 things done. That's self-care. I got these 3 things done. Now I can go do something else. Also getting some support. I'm going to talk about therapy. It's huge. I'm pro therapy. We need to talk things out sometimes. And there are support groups. Go over to the UOAA, go to UOAA. It's ostomy.org. It's really for US, UOAA, United. Here's my thumbs up on my YouTube, guys. Go over to UOAA, ostomy.org. I know they're based in the US, they're based in America. However, they have so many great resources that you can get a hold of for you, for support groups, all of that stuff. So go and get your support groups. Therapy, finding a therapist to talk things out, because sometimes we're holding on to things that are really not good for us, and our body needs to release it. Our body needs to get out of it, get through it. And sometimes we need to talk that out. So journaling, talking to somebody, talking to a professional, somatic work, which is your breath work, movement, making noises from your throat, listening to your body, slowing down enough to listen to your body. Like, what do you want? Your body's going to tell you what it wants. It's really smart. It's a really smart. Think about this thing. You breathe every day without having to think about it. It pumps blood through your body without having to, there's so much your body, your heart moves. Like, there's so much that your body does. Recently releases toxins that we don't even have to think about. So your body is very, very intelligent. So listen to your body. It will tell you what to do. And then lastly, what we're going to talk about is sleep. Sleep, 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 sleeping and rest. Some people, and I have talked to a few of you, where your sleep, you haven't had a great night's sleep in a long time. Sleep is so important for your mental well-being. It is so important for your body to function. It is so important for your body to heal. Sleeping is when your body heals and fixes itself. It's like when we get a cold and all we want to do is lay on the couch and sleep because our body is doing all the work. So sleep is really important. And some of you have sleep. Some of us, I've even had it myself, like sleep disturbances, because my output might be higher that day or that night. I might have ate something that made my output higher or gassy, and I'm rolling over, and all of a sudden my bag is full, and it's there's so much gas, it's all that ballooning, and I can't even roll over because it's ballooned. Or you might be in pain because of your chronic illness. Somehow, some way, set yourself up for a good night's sleep. Understand, and I talked a couple of episodes ago about nutrition and in your diet. Figure out the foods that work for you and the foods that don't. Make sure you're keeping yourself hydrated. I personally have to stop drinking my water. I have to have that gallon of water drank before 6 o'clock at night, because I need to give myself a few hours to make sure it gets out of me, so that I'm not waking up like 3 or 4 times in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. It's something that I've had to learn about my own body and what works for me. So I don't have to, so I get a better night's sleep. Go to bed early. If you go to bed early, you wake up earlier. Don't stay off your phone. The other recommendations that they talk about when it comes to better sleep, like, get rid of this thing. Like, just leave it in the other room. Don't be watching this thing, because the blue light is going to keep you awake. Get up first thing in the morning a great thing for your cardiac. You guys know what I'm talking about for your rhythm, right? Is for your sleep rhythm is to go outside first thing in the morning when the sun comes up and look at the sun. Go for a mini walk outside, just a little bit of fresh air, and let that sunlight in your eyes. That will set your cardiac. Well, I can't say it, so I'm not going to say it because I'm going to mess it up. But you guys know what I'm talking about. It will set your sleep rhythm better. It will get that your sleep level better. So getting sunlight first thing in the morning, shutting the phone off or turning it upside down or not even looking at it for like an hour before you go to bed, taking a nice bath, relaxing bath before you go to bed, having, whatever it is to get yourself into a comfortable zone, reading a nice book, slowing down. I'm 53 years old. It took me a long time to learn how in the world to slow down and what that even looks like, because I had no idea. But slowing yourself down to get yourself ready, ready for bed, getting in nice, comfortable pajamas that you love to sleep in, having the bed made, getting up in the morning, making your bed. But then when you get in bed, there's nothing like having like a fresh made bed and you get in there and it's like all when your kid, everything's all snuggled in there, right? The sheets are tight, you get your blanket up to your chin, making sure you have the right pillows. There's all kinds of recommendations on great pillows. You might not have a right pillow. You might need to change. It might be time to change your mattress. If you're having tough time sleeping, maybe your mattress is bad and you need a better mattress, or a better pillow, or more comfortable sheets that you just want to get into that bed, more comfortable pajamas that you just want to get into that bed and just chill your body down. Meditation. I meditate every single day. I love to meditate first thing in the morning. After I do some of my Bible study in the morning, I meditate for 10 minutes, and I've meditated for a long time. Hence, that has truly helped me slow my body down. You can do just quiet meditation before you go to sleep, and it'll help just bring down your heart rate and help you sleep. Again, this Aura ring, I talked about it. I've talked about it before on the podcast, this Aura ring. I love it. It counts my sleep. It tells me how many hours I've slept. It tracks my restfulness through the night. It tracks my heart rate. It tracks my breathing, if I have had any breathing disturbances. So this thing has, again, been magic for me to track my sleep and how good or bad I've done. And it even asks you if you have a bad night's sleep. It's like, what did you eat something? Did alcohol will affect it? Did you work out late at night? It'll ask you those questions so you can start to track it and then learn maybe what's going on with your sleep. So those are just some of the tips, tricks, and conversations that I wanted to have with you this week. If you found this episode helpful, as always, please leave a rating, leave a review. I so appreciate you guys. If you found it helpful, make sure to share it out there. Share it to your socials. Tag me in your walks. Tag me with your food. Tag me out there just to say hello. I love taking care of you guys. I love sharing your stories. And we will see you again next week. It's the beginning of April. Can you believe it? Can't believe it's here already. All right. Have a great one, guys.